Hello and welcome to everyone. Today, this is a special interview as this is the first time having wife and husband in the studio. It's Kathryn Paprocki and Steven Paprocki here. So thank you so much for joining. And in general, Kathleen, great run at LFA for now. I mean, you had a debut. Luckily, you did a great job. I mean, how do you feel about everything? What can you say about that last bout? And we are going to go with question by question. I'm especially thanks because I have you too, Steven, as I'm a big fan of kickboxing glory, and so you can tune in too. So please, Kathleen, what can you say about your last fight?
Yeah, man. I had fun. It felt really good to be back. It's been 2 years and 3 months since I fought in a cage. So I was extremely happy to be back. I think that we put on a phenomenal uh, bloody fun show, and I'm just extremely happy. So yeah.
That is outstanding. When did you start training MMA, and which was your first martial art?
So I started training about 6 years ago. My first fight ever was kickboxing. So yeah.
So, did Steven teach you kickboxing or?
Yes, he has taught me kind of everything actually. When I first started, he was in, and so I just kind of everything that I have been taught, every style that I have is definitely because of him. So I love to kickbox for sure.
Looking back at your fight, I also thought that you're a kickboxer as I have extensive kickboxing background. According to stance, you do this a lot, double pillars. So I
Sure.
assume that has something to do with kickboxing. So it was good assumption. Steven, question for you. How did you force Kathleen modify her style towards MMA? As kickboxers are having very much hard time modifying double pillars to John Jones style and such things.
Yeah, in that fight, Kat did a great job, but there was definitely some mistakes that we were prepared for as cage rust at some level is a real thing. Her double pillars were a little overcommitted, but in general, you know, with my Thai background, I've learned how to convert that to MMA striking. And the reality is, at the end of the day, boxing, Thai, and MMA, although similar, are in fact different sports, and you need to adjust accordingly. Um, and my Thai style just fit into MMA very well. I'm a little bit more aggressive. I like being handsy. So now all of a sudden you put small gloves on me and I can grab you. It's a lot easier to grab you than it is with 16-ounce gloves on or with 8-ounce gloves on. So fortunately, a lot of our fighters, work under that same premise of pressure, whether you are on the ground or in the clinch.
Steven, another question for you. When it comes to multi sweeps, I mean, you're expert of both martial arts. Do you think that multi sweeps are highly effective in the world of MMA, or you think it's 50-50 risk when you try to go for a multi sweep?
Man, I think that's an awesome question. I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's this. 50% of the Thai sweeps are valuable to use and 50% of them are not. Right? There's some of them that just don't leave you in an advantageous position where others do very well. We see that with judo. That hip toss is a beautiful thing. However, if you try to hip toss somebody that is very prepared for that hip toss, you'll find yourself in a lot of trouble. And Thai sweeps are very similar.
Yeah, makes sense, absolutely. Uh, do you have a nickname, Kathleen?
No, I'm just Catherine.
You don't have a nickname. Do you even think about getting nickname in the future, or you're pleased with your first and last name?
I mean, I like my first and last name. It is who I am, and I'm extremely proud of that. So, like, I want people to know my name. Around the gym, people call me like Queen a lot, so that gets thrown around, but not anything that I'm like, I'm gonna go by that now.
Okay, no problem. Do you have the favorite strike and the favorite submission?
I like my right hand. I like throwing that cross. It feels good when it connects. Submission wise, just kind of anything that's open. I just enjoy to go after things and go after people. So whatever that I can get, I will grab onto.
Steven, what do you think about vulnerability of southpaw fighter to right cross?
Yeah. We talk about this often in the gym, and I mean, I think you are dead on. When it is a southpaw, that right hand is what they have to look out for. However, we can take any stance in any combat sport, and we can make it crummy or very good depending on what our opponent does.
I agree. Kathryn, do you have a favorite animal?
A favorite animal?
Yes.
A hippo. 100%. I love hippos. I think they're cool.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. Do you have a favorite quote?
A favorite quote? I like that quote from, it's something like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Mike Tyson.
I like that plan because, yeah, like it does change when you're actually being hit. So I like that quote.
That sounds pretty much awesome. What do you think about your first amateur fight? How did you feel heading into your first amateur fight?
My first amateur fight, I was a brawler. I just kind of stood my ground and I threw jabs and crosses, and I didn't throw a kick the whole amateur fight that I had. But I was excited. I'm very aggressive, so I was just trying to be mean.
Yeah, that's pretty much good. Who was your toughest amateur opponent?
My toughest amateur opponent was probably Veronica Graves. Yeah. She and I had a war.
She was
good.
A black belt in judo.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was and just tough, very tough girl.
Yeah, tough.
Steven, how hard it was to make a transition to professional MMA? I mean, professional and amateur MMA are pretty much different levels. You demand, different features are required, and it's very hard for a fighter. How hard it was?
Man, you're absolutely right. I mean, they are very different. However, we get spoiled here in Colorado. You know, we have such high level MMA that often our title holding amateurs are really good and can be low level pros. You know, so you do get spoiled. I trained on a team that was just a lot of pros, so I was thrown in early and had to figure it out at the pro level as an amateur. Much like we've done with Kat and a lot of people on our team, and it does make you rise to the occasion.
That sounds pretty much fun. In your professional debut, Caitlin, how did you win your opponent, and how were you feeling? I mean, how were you feeling heading into that fight? I mean, it was for majority of fighters, that's a pretty much stressful experience. How did you feel?
So my pro debut, I actually did, it was a Queen of Sparta tournament. So I actually fought 3 times in one evening. I made my pro debut in boxing, my pro debut in kickboxing, and my pro debut in MMA all in the same time. And that was cool. It was a pretty intense experience. And I had fun.
So 3 debuts at the same time, and it wasn't stressful for you, or?
I train really, really hard. I practice really, really hard. And so I try to make sure that I have been in those uncomfortable, hard spots in training, so that there's nothing that really surprises me when I'm fighting. Yeah.
Now, question for Steven. How do you recover your student and marriage partner before the fights? I mean, before the fights, between the fights, between the training sessions, it's pretty much hard to watch everything as a coach. I mean, I have a friend who's a coach, and he says when I have to recover my student, it's I'm always having a big headache. So how does it happen in your case?
Yeah, it very similar. It at times does feel like you're herding kittens. It's tough. However, we have a system in play at the gym, so we have minimum hours that you meet, and my athletes are allowed to use recovery time as part of that time. It might not be 100%. So let's say you do a 20-minute ice bath. You might get 10 minutes knocked off of your workout time, right? So they have to bring that to me and ask me because they have to meet their hours. And we found that creates a sense for the athlete. They want the recover time because sometimes that's easier than getting punched in the mouth for 4 hours, So it has helped. It's not a perfect system, but it has helped the fighters be more willing and open to taking care of themselves.
So what do you think about that system in general? Does it help fighter, or some fighters argue and disagree the system? What do you think in general? I mean, from your point of view.
If you follow what you're supposed to do, it goes great. It's just not always easy to do what you're supposed to do. I mean, sometimes you feel like instead of stretching, I should be sparring, or instead of going on a long, nice jog, I should be sprinting. And so kind of knowing to just follow what you're being told can help. But we have a lot of younger men, and man, do they not want to stretch. They don't want to take care of themselves at all because they're very tough.
Yeah, I understand. What can you say about your Invicta FC debut?
Man, I had so much fun. I fought Isis. She was just impressive. Her striking was just so great. I had an extremely good time. I didn't get to show off my ground game and some of my other aspects to who I am. So I'm excited that now I have finally shown that because sometimes when you're on that big new stage, it's just a little bit like overwhelming. So yeah, it was fun though. It was good.
And do you have some specific ritual, before the fight? Do you have some specific mindset plan, or do you have some specific things that you write in the notebook? Do you understand the question before her
Yes,
fight?
totally. I wouldn't say that I necessarily have a ritual. However, I have practiced being in the back. I have practiced cornering these athletes. So obviously, when you practice something, you put your 10,000 hours and you do build systems. So although I wouldn't say I necessarily have like a good luck ritual, we do have certain systems that we follow just to make sure that everything in the back is organized correct. When I get there, even though we're there early, I immediately set up. I cut my tape, I put it up, I get our chairs away, because once we start getting into the meat of this night and getting ready for competition, I don't need these hiccups taking or stalling my time, right? Because I don't need the work for 4 hours there, but I do need the work for a very intense 1 hour. And I need to be prepared for that 1 hour when my athletes are up, right? I need to be there to talk to them, to get them ready, and to nurture them, not just physically, but mentally, right? They have to be mentally, they are going and getting locked in a cage by choice. That is something you consistently need to be reminded of what you came to do and why you seem to enjoy that.
How stressful it is to corner an athlete, and what are the greatest challenges of cornering an athlete during, for example, high-level promotion match?
Man, I think this is probably a fairly generic answer that you hear from most coaches, but it's nerve-wracking because you can't control what they're doing. With me, I can control it. If I want to throw a cross, I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to throw a cross. And with a lot of your athletes, you hope it turns out like a video game, right? But you just don't know. And execution and 10,000 hours helps that. It's very easy with some of our people. A Cat makes it very simple. I don't talk a lot during her matches, but I guide. However, when I do call something, it gets thrown because she is aware that whether she sees it or not, I'm calling something because I'm on her team, right? I'm not screaming what I want to say. I'm screaming what I know she needs to hear. Um, yeah, I mean that is the biggest challenge is hoping without truly knowing that they're going to follow the direction.
Kathryn, what can you say about Emily Ducote as the opponent?
Emily Ducati, man, she was great. Out of our match, I didn't show up. I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and she did. I think it's been great to watch her. She seems to get better. And I would love to go after her again. I mean, I would take that fight any day again. So, yeah.
Steven, what was the game plan for Kathryn's LFA debut? Did you have a specific game plan for her opponent? Because she won via rear naked choke. You don't expect from a striker to choke people out. It just happens naturally, right? That's O'Day Osborne's statement.
You know, we practice something in the gym. If you want to choke somebody, you punch them in the mouth. And if you want to knock somebody out, you try to choke them, right? They do work together and open each other up. And in regards to the game plan, you know, I'm not a huge fan of game plans. I think, as you know, fighters they're consistently growing and learning at the high level. So what they did a fight ago, they can be very different than who shows up the next time. So instead, it's really just working on the athlete. And then there are certain things that we work on. For example, the way Tiana throws those hooks, we worked on. She chose not to execute, so she got hit in the eyes a little bit, but it wasn't something that we weren't aware of. She had mentioned it between rounds. She's like, hey, you know that punch you were talking about? It's landing. I was like, yeah, babe, I know. You know, just little things like that. But no, I wouldn't say that we necessarily put in a direct game plan.
Okay, Kathryn, I just want to ask you about your last fight. Are you pleased? Are you pleased with the fight, or you think the fight could have gone better, worse?
I'm extremely pleased. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that I got to show that I can strike, that I can go to the ground, that I can take you down, that I can do all of these things. So I'm happy. Obviously, there's a lot of things I have to grow. I need to get better, but that's going to be every single time. So I am enjoying it for right now, and I'm happy. Yeah, that's good.
Do you have somebody locked in your sights for the next fight?
Anybody and everybody. From whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, that's pretty much a great answer. Steven, do you plan to improve some aspects of the game in the future? I mean, did you make a game plan?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, for that, there is a plan going into the next series of practices. I mean, we have to work on some things that she knows and does. However, with it being so long off, she kind of got off of. So we're just going to go back to some of the basics and work on them. Clearly, her ground game has come a long way and looks very. I mean, she looked dominant in it. You know, she against an experienced fighter. So really, we're gonna do some touch up work, and I really want to get her just in a very tough setting right now, and you know, see what happens over the next month. Just being uncomfortable. You know, that the reality is at the end of the day. Coal and pressure is what creates diamonds, right? So we're gonna pressure her and make her keep growing.
One question of MMA: do you have favorite animals? I mean, she said, but for you.
I like elephants. I do. It's that Thai, the dancing elephant. It's the power, but the grace. It's silly. I like elephants and I like whales. A very similar creature, just in the water. I'm a big, dumb, slow animal, so I get it.
Like in general, can you pinpoint to the greatest challenges of glory kickboxing? I mean, glory kickboxing is not like normal kickboxing. It's high-level kickboxing where you mustn't stop. I mean, those rule sets are saying either you're gonna die inside the ring, either you're gonna stop the fight.
For me, I love Glory. Great organization, took awesome care of me for no other reason than they're just good people. However, the toughest thing is they don't allow you clinch time, right? Which I do understand because I do feel in Thai at times they allow too much clinch time. Not needing to break up. However, man, they don't give you the opportunity just to fuck somebody's chest and belly up with knees. That was tough for me because really what helps me is my ability to get my hands on you, right? I'm very strong and I'm fast. So if I can get my hands on you, you're in a lot of trouble. In Glory, they were able to avoid that much easier due to the rule set.
Well, like comparing kickboxing 10, 15 years ago, you were allowed to hold for 1 second and strike, but in Glory, every contact is a penalty, I think. I don't know, maybe they changed the rules now, but 5, 6 years ago, every contact was a penalty, every holding.
It is. They say when you're fighting it, they'll tell you get a second, and then for every additional knee, you get 3 more, but it's not true. Like, that's just not what it is. The minute you grab, they do split you up. But again, it does create an exciting event. So they're clearly doing some things right.
I think it's like mostly the difference between the promotions, or Glory is like the most strict promotion when it comes to no clinching rule.
Yeah, I would say that they're probably the most strict. Yeah, I mean, we have Daniel Gallimore on our team, and he's with Lion Fights, and they worked pretty solid in the clinch for a while. Where Glory, you know how it is. It's frowned upon. So it is just vastly different. I would say Glory is the most strict about it. It really is kickboxing.
According to you, which country has the best Glory kickboxers? What do you think? Which countries have the best schools? Many people are praising Netherlands, but some people say, okay, Netherlands is just they're just importing fighters.
I don't know, man. That is a fair statement. The Netherlands does, although they import fighters, they have a long history of building some very good fighters. Consistently, we do see some awesome athletes coming out of America. So they might not be always the best fundamental kickboxers, but they're just very athletic, which I think goes far. But yeah, I would say the Netherlands or New Zealand creates some good chaos over there as well.
Now, question for Kathryn. For MMA, do you think it's better to be a nerve-wracking counter guy or offensive, aggressive guy?
Oh, aggressive. Aggressive. I don't know. I think, honestly, you have to be able to float out of doing both. Honestly. Being able to do both is just, it's huge. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but majority of MMA fighters, I'm just telling from my experience, majority of MMA fighters say when somebody just stands and does nothing, it irritates a lot.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, and when you have to attack, it irritates a lot because every time you try to attack, he is ready to counter. He or she is ready to counter.
It's smart. It's smart. I get it.
Do you have the favorite MMA fight? I mean, between the two fighters. You are diehard fans, both of you. So, like, if you can pinpoint to one MMA fight that you could watch 10 times per day and it would still be interesting, which fight would that be?
Oh.
I mean, Zhang and Joanna was a...
That was good. I love when Holloway fights.
Yeah.
I'm a Holloway fan. I enjoy his style and how he does stuff. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And all heavyweights. I love when the big guys just bang it out.
Yeah.
I think everybody does. It's the best.
Right, that's more of a my question. Blagoy Ivanov is from my state. What do you think about him?
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's the man, dude.
He's the man.
I like his story. I like how he talks about, leaving his small gym to go to a mega gym and realize like he wasn't getting what he needed. So he went back to his small gym and he's getting taken care of. And he goes on that winning streak and then proves his worth, like, against potentially one of the greatest, that we've seen. He's a stud, dude.
Yeah,
Just
he's
a stud.
Well, Blagoy Ivanov is nerve-wracking counter-puncher, so many people dislike him because of that. But in our state, we respect that because Sambo is our main martial art.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Do you have the favorite martial art, both of you?
Favorite martial arts? I don't know.
Mine would be Thai.
Thai?
Yeah.
Thai for you?
Yeah, Thai.
Well, I don't know. It's hot. I like to wrestle, but I like punching, so I can't take punching out of it. So I don't know. Grappling, striking, elbows. Elbows are cool. Wherever I can elbow.
Yeah, that's true. MMA would be completely, how do you say, it would be incomplete without elbows. Also in a street fight, elbow can save you many times. I mean, Steven knows that the best elbow is the most dangerous human weapon. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's so violent. Yeah. Yeah. When Kat hit Tiani with the elbow in that first round, in the corner, because she hit her right in the mouth, I thought she might have broken her jaw. Obviously that isn't what happened. I was able to see that between the first and second, but that was my initial go-to because it's just such a hard point of contact to run into.
What do you think? Which is the most dangerous elbow from Muay Thai? I mean, my brother, he trained Muay Thai, and he says if there was one thing I hate, that's John Jones spinning back elbow.
Oh, I could see that one, especially because it always hurts when you don't see it coming at your face. So that one could definitely smack you. There was an elbow that I took one time. It was just an over the top elbow, and my jaw it like clattered for like 5 seconds. And I was like, what the heck?
Okay, this is more technical question for a fighter. Now you choose who's gonna respond. What is happening in the mind of a fighter when he's rocked, when you're dazed? What's happening? I mean, how does that moment look? I mean, I am a former fighter too. I've been dazed like 100 times. I got used to it. But how does a fighter feel when he's rocked?
I think it depends on your training too. Like, I stay calm because I've been hit a bunch, and I like to think like, okay, I need to pedal and just kind of like move around and breathe, like, yeah.
I think that is a very common, like, as a fighter, right? You've been there before. So when it happens, it's like, oh, man.
Oh, man.
I got to move around a bit.
I look stupid.
But there are many dirty things you can do when you're rocked. For example, either you can clinch up, either you can shoot in. There are many things you can do when you're rocked if you have experience. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, she is very good at when she's rocked she's more versatile than I was. If I was rocked, I would immediately bicycle and figure it out. Where she can kind of still decide, am I shooting? Am I going to bicycle out? She's just a more versed fighter.
For example, my dirty trick in kickboxing when I was rocked, I was left-handed, and I have Taekwondo black belt. So when I'm rocked, I start retreating, and when somebody starts swarming, I go for a left spinning heel kick. If I hit. If not, I go down, and I have time to recover.
Hey, I like it.
I like your style.
No, but you throw yourself. If you hit him, it's probably going to be knocked down or knocked out. But if you miss, you're down. He mustn't hit you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but in MMA, like, what are your options when you're rocked? I mean, from the angle of the MMA fighter, what are your options when you're rocked? You can also reply. Choose who's gonna reply.
I would say you can shoot. The other option is to get them pushed against the cage, because then you're able to kind of take some breaths, not get hit too hard, but still kind of see where you want to go from there, would be my answer.
Yeah, I agree. I like bicycling and then contact just so I can take some time to just like jiu-jitsu, right? If I get my hands on you, typically I can take a few seconds to breathe. without you punching me in the mouth, right?
Stop it.
Yeah, but in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of different. If somebody grabs your neck, you don't have much options.
True.
Fair? That's fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you're trying to defend armbar or any submission, if you roll to the proper side, you have good chances of evading. But if somebody controls your neck, that's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true.
According to your thoughts, which submission is the most critical? I mean, for fighter, which submission is the most difficult to evade?
I would say the choke, the RNC. When you're in a armbar, when you're in a Kimura, your arms can kind of bend and there's things that you can do, but your throat doesn't have much room to go anywhere. So the minute that gets stuck, and two, when you're out of air, you get tired very quick. You can't, it's just a harder choke, I would say.
Steven, one technical question from Muay Thai. Muay Thai plum or pumel, however you call it. In my state, we call it pumel. I don't know how you call it in USA. Is it pumel or plum?
Plum.
Plum.
Okay. Yeah. Muay Thai plum in MMA. If you can rate importance of that move, because in MMA somebody can shoot in when you go for that. He has many more options to defend. But if you can rate importance of Muay Thai plum in MMA from 1 to 10, which number would you pick?
7.
7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, a proper. If I go to a single plum or Cat goes to a single plum, you're not shooting on me. The lowest point of contact now is my elbow. Your shoulder's not under my elbow. So how are you going to take me down? I'm winning that game. If we go 2 hands, now we're talking about pushes and there's some other things that can happen. However, if I can get a single plum or what we refer to as our A-frame, you can't shoot on me anymore. I have the advantage. So I say 7 out of the ability to do damage and the ability not to get shot on. However, at the end of the day, the biggest weapon you need is a cross, right? Like that is 80% of knockouts are crosses. So you need to know how to throw proper cross before you learn anything else.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Also, cross is a very good weapon, especially for a longer fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also one of the greatest problems. Like when somebody throws cross all day and he is very long, you pretty much don't have much options. You can circle around, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's hard to just consistently block somebody smacking you hard, right? That's still damage that you are collecting. Even when you're blocking, you are collecting damage. It just slows it down.
Is there something you would like to add to the interview? Would you like to give a shout out to somebody? Is there something we missed to say? Some stories? Some, would you add something, please?
I got my purple belt on Tuesday.
That's right.
I'm a purple belt now. I don't know, man. I have a fantastic team, a fantastic crew for my coaching staff. I'm just so honored. I'm so blessed. I genuinely love what I do every single day. So I'm just enjoying this, and I'm excited to come back and be back into the cage again.
Does Steven have something to add?
No, man. Thank you. Great questions. Awesome
Yes.
questions, man.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. I
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I mean, there is a big difference when somebody hasn't fought like 99% of journalists and me. I'm going to show you something now. You see? What is,
Yeah.
do you see something abnormal here?
I
don't think so.
don't know.
It was broken. Also this.
Oh.
Check my nose. You see?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got fractures on 4 places in my whole body, so I know how it feels, believe me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. But for
Sweet.
example, some other journalists are like, they ask you a question, they don't care, but they don't know how it is to take a hit. But I understand the mechanics. For example, when I see people throwing, trashing fighters, I was like, why don't you head into the cage and you will see what's going to happen.
Try it out,
There is
and then
something to
see
be
what
said,
you do. Yeah.
There is something to be said when you understand the value or the damage of the question you're asking, right? That is valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty much valuable. Thank you for this interview. This was the first time with coach and the fighter husband spouse.
So
This
much.
is the first that type of interview, and pretty much pleased for that. I will put it now to creation. I hope in like 4 or 5 hours it will be online.
Okay.
We actually, hey, we were the first married couple to hold belts in the same promotion.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, SCL.
Yeah.
Killing
For
it.
Sparta. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's funny.
I didn't
Winning.
know that. Right. Thank you so much for this. I will put
Thank
it to
you so
creation
much.
now, and I will let you know. I will tag you both.
All
Okay.
right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a
Bye.
great day.